project. So if I open this project, I want to show you some of the details in this project, right? So let's go in this and open our settings for metadata enrichment. And here, if you see, we have, let's scroll down, we have options like expand metadata, where we had these are existing options where where we can specify that when the names are expanded from the technical names using an LLM, we expand it and bring the more natural language name. What kind of thresholds we set? So anything which is between these two thresholds are suggested. Anything which is above this threshold is automatically assigned to the columns. But the fun part now is that we have introduced a new mechanism of expanding the names. We have fuzzy matching and we have now the generative AI options. So in the fuzzy matching, what we used to do since last year was that you have to provide a glossary, and then using that glossary, we were matching it against the technical metadata to expand the names. Now we are giving users the capability to generate the names using the generative AI option. So that's what we have selected here. We can select here. So when a user selects this, toggles this, and use a generative AI capability, that's when the LLM Granite 8B is used to expand the metadata. So it uses the knowledge of the model to generate the names, to expand the names, right? So now this is great, and we have this description. Similarly, it was already there. We have added the option that you can switch on and off the description generation. This is all great, but the using the glossary had its advantages. Using the glossary means that we were able to leverage the business glossary, business knowledge to expand the metadata names. Now we are using the generative AI, and if we are relying, that means we are relying on the knowledge of the model, which may or may not be related to your domain. So that's where we have added more options. Now we have added this option that you can toggle whether you want to use the profiling results. So where it is helpful is when as you know, when we profile our data in the knowledge catalog, we use the sample values. We extract the frequent, we use sample values. And by toggling this option, here it is a disclaimer showing you that by toggling this option, those sample values, the 3 to 5 values, will be used will be passed to LLM as example, and this helps LLM understand your data and generate the right names. So for example, if you have names like if you have a column name like CC, now if I give it to the LLM as is, it is very confusing, because column name CC could be customer code, it can be credit card number, or it can be something else related to your domain knowledge. But if we know that the column name CC contains information like USA, UK, France, FRA, something like that, so it means we immediately know that these are the country codes. So we can, as a human, can easily identify that this CC column should be expanded to country code and not to the credit card number. So if we can give this information, this hint to the model, we can also give this clue to the model, and model can generate the right results. And that's what we are doing by leveraging the profiling information, the sample values, to presenting it to the model and getting that results. The other thing we have added is, as you know, I talked about that uh, earlier we used to leverage the glossary and expand the metadata. But now we are relying on the knowledge of the model. Now, it will be wonderful that if we can leverage the domain knowledge and the language knowledge of the model to generate the names. So what it means is that for common terms like CCN, SSN, which is Social Security number, we don't need to define a term for that. Model knows these terms and we can leverage the knowledge. But then there are specific terms like We had a customer had the terms like MOU, and model was confused whether it's mileage of usage or minutes of usage or something like that. But if that kind of terms be defined, the abbreviations can be defined and given to the model, then model does a fantastic job of disambiguating this kind of columns and providing more domain specific information, right? That's where we have added this feature that you can upload a very simple abbreviation file, and we will automatically leverage the abbreviations which are relevant for the metadata and send it to the model, and give the additional context to the model to expand your names. And this has proven to be very, very effective. We get almost like 90% accuracy once you have good abbreviations defined, which are not very generic and which are specific to your domain, right? The other thing we have added is that we have, let's say somebody ran this metadata enrichment, they got some results back, but those results are then reviewed. As we know, we have a very exhaustive metadata review process. When those results are reviewed, then the users have ability to correct some of the generated data. Now, what we wanted to do is how do we leverage that information that when a subsequent metadata enrichment is executed, that reviewer or the data steward, the work of that data steward can be reused, right? So now here, if the data steward has reviewed the results, corrected some results, and then publish it to a catalog, then they can select that catalog as a learning catalog, and the anything added in this catalog will be used to expand the metadata, which so anything, any results which were humanly edited. So if CC was expanded to, let's say, without any sample values, it was expanded to credit card number, and a human went in and corrected it to country code. Next time this metadata enrichment runs, if you have selected to learn from this catalog, it will automatically apply this learning and expand CC to the country code and not the credit card number, right? So that's the beauty, that you do the work one time and it can continue to leverage that information. So these are different options we have added to boost the accuracy of our generative AI features or LLM based enrichments. So very, very quickly, I'm going to show you very quickly that, for example, here I have set up this enrichment with very limited glossary and without using the LLM option. And here, if you see, if you come to the columns, and you see a lot of names are empty because the fuzzy matching could not find the relevant names from the glossary because I had not given it, right? But if these names are then passed uh, to the model did a good job. So it's the same data I have here, but now I have selected the generative AI option. And here, if I have, here you see, if I select the columns, a lot of names are generated, right? So these names now are coming from the LLM, and LLM is able to expand properly salary to salary without having to define it, range to range. Even some of the results are very interesting. Um, So like this, birth or foundation date, business data incoming. So these kind of information is expanded automatically by LLM. And on top of that, you can provide, if you say think something is incorrect, or you can edit it, and that LLM will learn. And if you have if you want to define some of these abbreviations, you can define a very simple abbreviation file like this, and this will be effective in your subsequent MDs. So this is a very simple file you can define, and then these abbreviations can be used, will be leveraged, right? How do you run it? You basically create a MDE. So I want to show you how you run it. You want to create a MDE, enrich metadata using LLM. You select your data. Okay, and you select the options like expand metadata. This is the objective where it uses the LLMs to expand your metadata and give the descriptions. You can do the profiling, and this is where the values will be captured and then passed to the metadata expansions if that option is selected. And then you choose the categories, whatever this is now for term assignments. Okay, and that's it. And that's what it takes to run an enrichment job with the LLM based options. And it will automatically leverage all the settings which were set in the project settings to expand this metadata. Okay, it's going to take some time, but you got the idea. So that's all for the LLM based enrichments. Let me know if you have questions.